Okay, so tax season 2024 is wrapped up, done. And if you're like millions of others waiting for that check or deposit, there's really, one big question.
Where's my money?
Exactly. Where is my IRS tax refund? And, for a lot of people, we're not talking small amounts here. The average is, around $3,000?
Yeah, that's the figure that really jumped out from the source material we're looking at today. It specifically mentioned $2,939 as the average refund. So yeah, $3,000 is a very good benchmark. It's relevant for a huge number of taxpayers.
It absolutely is. And that's exactly why we wanted to do this deep dive. We've got this article focusing right on that $3,000-ish IRS refund schedule for 2025.
Yeah.
So our goal here is pretty simple. Cut through the noise, get you the essential info. Who's this schedule actually for?
Right.
What are the key dates for June and July if you filed recently? And crucially, how can you track your refund?
Right, just the clear takeaways.
Maximum clarity, minimum fuss. That's the plan.
Okay, so let's start right there. This $3,000 refund. Who exactly are we talking about? Is it only people getting precisely that amount?
Good question. The article clarifies that, right? It's based on the average.
Exactly, that $2,939 figure.
Mm-hmm.
So look, if your refund is somewhere near $3,000, these timelines we're discussing, they're likely relevant to you. It's a guidepost, not, a strict cutoff.
Okay, that makes sense. It's not some exclusive club, just a guide using that typical number. So stepping back a bit, what generally determines if someone's getting a refund in that kind of range anyway?
Well, it's the usual tax fundamentals, really. It boils down to a few key things from your 2024 situation. Your income level, obviously.
Right.
How much tax was already withheld from your paychecks during the year? That's a big one.
Right.
Then any tax credits you qualified for, things like the earned income tax credit, maybe the child tax credit. And basically, did all that withholding and credits add up to more than what you actually owed in taxes for 2024? If you overpaid, and that overpayment amount is somewhere near that $2,939 average, well, then this schedule we're talking about applies to you.
Got it. Simple overpayment calculation landing near the average. Okay, now, for everyone sort of refreshing their bank apps, let's get specific. The criteria for actually seeing that money land in June. The source had some pretty exact conditions, didn't it?
It did. Yeah, this is where the timing and the accuracy of your return really matter. The article lays out a few specific points. First, you needed to have filed your 2024 return fairly recently. We're talking between May 1st and May 31st, 2025.
Okay, so a May filer. What else?
Your return had to be, clean. It needed to process smoothly without any errors flagging it for, say, manual review or needing extra verification steps.
That makes sense. No hiccups.
And finally, your chosen delivery method.
Right.
I had to have picked either direct deposit, the faster option, or just a standard paper check in the mail.
So filed in May, clean return, standard delivery, if you check all those boxes.
Then, yes, according to the schedule in the article, you fall into the groups who might see their refund in June or maybe early July.
Okay, let's dig into that official schedule then, because it really shows how much difference the exact filing date in May and the method make.
Absolutely. It breaks it down very clearly. So, first group, people who filed between May 1st and May 15th, 2025.
Okay, early May.
If you e-filed and used direct deposit the Speed Demon combo, you're looking at a refund hitting sometime between May 22nd and June 4th, 2025.
Pretty quick turnaround, actually.
It is. Now, if you e-filed in that same window, May 1st to 15th, but asked for a mail check, well, that adds a bit of time. Expected delivery is then May 29th to June 11th.
Still not terrible, but definitely slower.
Right. But then look at paper filing. If you mailed in a paper return between May 1st and 15th, the wait gets much longer. Expected window is June 26th all the way to July 10th.
Wow. Okay, just in that first half of May, the difference between e-file direct deposit and paper mail is like almost a month. Huge difference. What about the folks who filed a bit later in May?
Yep, second group filed between May 16th and May 31st, 2025. The timelines shift out, as you'd expect. E-filing with direct deposit for this group. Expected window is June 6th to June 19th.
Okay.
E-filing, but with a mail check. That pushes it to June 13th through June 26th.
Still June, mostly.
Mostly, yeah. But again, paper filing by mail in late May, you're definitely looking at July. The expected range is July 11th to July 25th.
That really hammers home the point, doesn't it? Filing date and method are just massive factors. And obviously the source mentions you filed way back in February or March.
Oh yeah, your refund might have arrived weeks or months ago. These June-July dates are specifically for those recent May filers based on this article's schedule.
Right. So speaking of methods, the article, it really emphasizes that speed advantage of e-filing, especially with direct deposit. Why is it so much quicker than sending paper through the mail?
Well, it's really about the process behind the scenes. E-filing, particularly when paired with direct deposit, it plugs right into a highly automated IRS system. It cuts out a lot of manual steps.
Okay. Less human handling.
Exactly. The source highlights this. It's why e-filers, assuming no problems, usually see their refund processed within about 21 days. Paper, though, that needs physical handling, someone has to open it, scan it, manually key in data. It just takes way longer.
How much longer are we talking?
The standard estimate is 6 weeks or more for paper. And the article even notes that things like IRS staffing levels can affect how quickly they get through that paper pile. It also mentioned tools like the IRS Direct File Pilot this year helped make e-filing even smoother for some.
Yeah, 21 days versus 6 weeks plus potential delays. That's a significant difference if you need the money. But, okay, even with e-filing, sometimes things do get delayed. What are the common holdups the source warns about?
That's a really important point. These schedules are estimates, right? Things can definitely slow it down. The article flags a few usual suspects. Simple errors are a big one. Typos. Mismatched information. Maybe your name or SSN doesn't quite match IRS records.
Okay, basic stuff.
Basic, but critical. Also, incorrect or missing bank account details for direct deposit. That's an obvious showstopper. The money literally can't go anywhere.
Right, got to get those numbers perfect.
Absolutely. Then there are things like potential fraud flags or identity verification holds. If the IRS system sees something unusual, it might pause the refund for a human review.
Security checks.
Yeah. And as we just talked about, just the nature of paper returns involves manual processing, which is inherently slower than the automated e-file system. Any need for manual intervention adds time.
That all makes perfect sense. Any little bump in the road, any manual step just pauses the whole thing. So that advice to double check, triple check everything, especially bank info, seems pretty crucial.
It really is. An ounce of prevention, helps you stay closer to those estimated timelines.
Okay, so let's say you did file in May. You're hoping you got everything right and you're waiting. How do you actually check the specific status of your refund? The source points to one main tool.
Yes, the go-to resource, straight from the horse's mouth, is the IRS's own Where's My Refund tool.
Yeah.
You find it right on irs.gov.
Okay, irs.gov.
Yeah. It's designed specifically to give you updates. It shows the status, like if your return was received, if it's approved, and crucially, if the refund has been sent.
And it updates often.
It updates once every 24 hours, usually overnight. So checking multiple times a day won't help, but it works for both e-filed and paper returns.
Good to know. What information do you need to actually use it?
You need 3 key pieces of information. First, your social security number, or if you use one, your ITIN.
Okay.
Second, the filing status you used on your return, single, married filing jointly, that kind of thing.
Got it.
And third, the exact dollar amount of the refund you're expecting. So if we're using that $3,000 average as a guide, you'd put in your specific refund figure, whatever it is.
Makes sense. Exact amount. And wasn't there an important point in the article specifically for paper filers using that tool? Something about a delay.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's really important context if you mailed your return. The article clearly states it can take up to 4 weeks from the date you actually put that paper return in the mail for its information to even appear in the Where's My Refund system.
4 weeks just to show up at all.
Exactly. So if you mailed it last week, don't panic if you check the tool today and it says no information found. There's a built-in lag before paper returns even enter the tracking system. It's part of why paper takes so much longer overall.
That is a really key distinction. Okay, let's wrap this up. If we boil down everything from this deep dive, what are the absolute essential takeaways?
I'd say the core message is this. Your refund timeline, especially if it's around that $3,000 average, really hangs on when you filed and how you filed.
When and how?
Right. If you e-filed in May, particularly by the end of May, this schedule suggests you might see that money in June. But if you went the paper route, mailed it in, you're almost certainly looking at July, maybe even later.
And tracking.
Tracking is possible and recommended using the official Where's My Refund tool on irs.gov. Just remember that paper filer delay for it showing up.
Got it. So patience is needed, especially with paper, but you do have a way to check. Be proactive, use the tool once you're in or past that estimated window.
Precisely. The schedule gives you the general idea. The tracker gives you your specific status.
Which kind of leads to a final thought for you, the listener, to maybe chew on while you wait. Think about how that choice you made, e-file versus paper, direct deposit versus check it didn't just influence when you get the money. It also fundamentally changed how much visibility, how much maybe perceived control you actually have over that whole waiting game itself. Something to consider for next year, perhaps.